Would you believe, no more than 10 minutes ago, it was lovely sunshine, nice warm colours, and now it's the opposite end of the scale completely. Don't get me wrong, this is great, but it's not what I came out for. So I've just popped out to Birnbeck Pier, which is literally just up the road from me, with the intention of just having another look and just refreshing myself with the location, because I'm considering running either one-to-one or small group workshops here. As you know, I've shot this a million times and I don't think there's much I haven't done here. So if that's something that any of you guys would be interested in, let me know in the comments, because that would be really helpful. But I'm going to try and show you a little bit more about how I'm taking the shots that I'm taking tonight, what filters I'm using, etc, etc. I'm just going to try and go into a bit more detail for you. So yeah, I'll come back to you in a minute. So the first shot I'm going to take, I'm using a 10 stop and a 1.2 soft edge grad, and I'll talk you through how I get the exposure that I want and how I work that out. It's actually using a method that a friend of mine uses, so well done Rich. You know who he is if he watches it. So I've put the 10 stop on and I've put the grad on. I'm at f/16 ISO 100. I've got it in aperture priority, and so I'm looking at the back of the screen and it's maxing out at 30 seconds and it's still showing me as being at least a stop underexposed. Now it'll probably end up being more than that, but a good method for working that out is, I don't know whether most of you will know that for every stop of exposure, it will either double or half your shutter speed depending on which way you go. So looking at the exposure meter or the histogram, what I can do, like I said, I'm at f/16. I can start opening the aperture by a stop at a time and watching the exposure. And like I said, for every full stop, it's I'll need to double my shutter speed. So by counting how many stops I've gone down, I can then work out how many seconds of exposure I'll need. So like I said, it's at 30 seconds at the moment. So I'll go from f/16 to f/11, which is a full stop, and it's still showing as a stop underexposed, so that's going to be 60 seconds because it's going to double it. So we'll go from f/11 to f/8, and that's not bad, so that's going to be a minute and a half. No, that'll be 2 minutes. Let me try it and I'll come back to you. At 30 seconds in f/16, using it in manual mode, it was around about 2 stops underexposed. So at 30 seconds, each stop doubles, so a 2-minute exposure should suffice. And I think I've just got a load of spray all over the front of the lens now, so that could be interesting. So for this composition, it's a viewpoint that I've shot before, and I know I'd like to shoot this one in vertical orientation. So it basically incorporates part of this rock in the bottom right, this one in the bottom left pushing up towards the pier, and then the pier either central or pushed slightly to the right. So this side of the pier, the north side, it shoots well at high tide. On the south side, at high tide, there's very little rocks that you can get down onto, well, not safely anyway. On the north side, there's a lot of different viewpoints here that you can shoot at high tide. I'll show you around. So you come down from that gravel pile, which is not the safest thing, and then you have all these rocks here. The huge one that I'm stood on, and basically everything that you can see there, even up onto the green where that sign is, you can actually go up to there and go out onto the end, which I'll probably do in a minute. I'll show you around. Tonight the weather's not ideal. It looked good to begin with, but as always with me, it changes at the last minute. But it could be quite interesting. There is some holes in the clouds, so we might get some dappled light on the water. I doubt it, to be fair, but we might. You never know. But it's a nice bit of drama, so hence the reason I'm shooting long exposures, because I don't think there's going to be any colour. It may well end up going black and white, but that's something that I'll decide in Photoshop later. But there's some big waves splashing up now, so I think I'm going to have to back up a bit and clean my filters and then have a look for another composition. Now, although the 10 stop was working okay, because there's quite a lot of drama tonight. There's a fair bit of whitewash in the sea because it's hitting the rocks, and you know, there's some nice texture to the clouds and everything. So decided to take the 10 stop off, and I've put on a 3 stop and a 0.9 medium grad, and that's given me my favourite shutter speed of around 1.6 seconds. And yeah, I think it works really well. Like I said, because we've got some fast moving water as it's smashing through the rocks here. There's a big one coming in now, so you can see as it's coming in, almost a bit of an S shape, sort of smashing through here. It caught my eye and I thought it was nice. So again, I'm in vertical orientation, f16, 1.6 seconds this time, remote shutter, so I can fire it off exactly when I want it. And yeah, it's working quite well, I think. I'll show you the results in just a sec. Okay, this shot I'm taking now, quite a difficult one to capture this because the rocks are really wet and there's still waves splashing up everywhere. I've got to be a little bit careful, but I'll try and show you my tripod at the moment. Alright, so there's one foot, there's the other, and the third is on that rock there, and the tripod is right up here, the camera's right up there. So hence the reason I'm not stepping too far away from it, because I need to be able to grab it if it goes. But yeah, it's the only sort of way I could get to the viewpoint that I had in mind. I think it works. There's 3 rocks that I'm placing in the bottom third. The pier is sitting about the middle, and then the sky is kind of hopefully going to do the rest. But time will tell, I guess. So again, I'm at 1.3 seconds, f16. Because the tide's so rough and there's so much drama in the sky, it's definitely a better shutter speed. The 10 stop was okay, but I like to see a little bit more drama. I want to see, with a 10 stop, it takes all the movement out of the water. You get no direction, and you can, it smooths it off, makes it quite nice to look at or whatever, but you don't get that movement, so that tends to be what I'm all about. So yeah, a Nisi 3 stop and a Nisi 0.9 medium grad, both mounted in the V6 holder, and it seems to be doing the job. This is the view from the top of the cliffs on the north side. section that I'm on now is definitely the easiest of the locations to get to, because the other ones that I was at, you've actually got to walk down some loose gravel and it's quite steep and not the easiest thing to do, to be fair. Okay, so this is the other viewpoint. I'll show you around. Again, it's definitely a location that I have shot a lot. Not many photographers shoot it from this side, but I don't think many of them actually know about it. They should watch my video, shouldn't they? And then they would. It does tend to gather quite a lot of crap. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can find a composition here, and then when I do, I'll talk you through it. So what little light we did have is beginning to fade, and it's quite a bit darker over here now. There's a little bit of light out in the distance. The pier's still got a touch on it, but foreground and everything down here is quite dark. So I'm going to take the 3-stop off, because it's actually giving me now about 4 seconds, which is a little bit too long for what I want. So I'm going to take that 3-stop off, adjust the grad a little bit, and see what we get. You might notice that I haven't mentioned using the polarizer tonight, which I pretty much always do on my seascapes. The reason for that is there isn't really any light. The sky is completely bland and clouded over, so apart from maybe a couple of stops of light reduction, wasn't an awful lot to gain from using the polarizer. Any reflections that are on the rocks, I actually want to keep them because the light's so low. They'll actually add brightness to and contrast to the foreground, you know, where there's a lack of light. So I don't want to cut the reflections off the rocks, I want to actually use them. So putting a polarizer on would have been counterproductive in this case, so for what I want anyway. Some people might disagree, because, you know, photography is subjective. Now what I've been trying to do over here is there was 3 rocks that just a few minutes ago they were just sort of poking through. I'm trying to isolate those from the others down here. But let me see if I can show you a couple of the shots. But I mean, just look at this. Look at that drama in that sky. You can see the rocks here, but the tide's dropped a little bit now, so it's starting to show more. But the sky is just fantastic. Really nice, dark and moody. Yeah, really nice, dark, moody skies. No colour whatsoever, but I like that. This is looking good. It's looking good. But the compositions are changing so fast because the tide's receding so quickly that you only get a few minutes on each one. So like I said, now it's the composition I had is pretty much gone now, but the mood and the drama is definitely still there. So I'm just gonna move about a little bit. So for this shot I'm using no other filters bar the 0.9 Nisi medium, shooting at f16. Because the light is so low, it's giving me 1.3 seconds, which is, you know, it's one of my favourite shutter speeds, you know that by now. And yeah, it's looking good. So 24mm, ISO 100, 1.3 seconds, f16, vertical orientation to get all that sky. That's what I want that sky. It's going to be about the sky this time. No colour, no light, so let's make it about them clouds. And a little bit of sea, of course. light's fading fairly quickly now, so probably going to wrap this up now. So yeah, this is a quick look at Birnbeck Pier. Not in the best conditions, but you make the best of what you got, and I think that the drama here tonight is going to have worked well. So yeah, so I hope you liked the video. If you haven't already, then please consider subscribing, and if you click the little bell next to the subscribe, you'll get notified every time I upload a video. My next video is probably going to be from Portland Bill, from a meet that I've arranged on the 7th of September, that is. So yeah, I mean, if you can come along to that, that'd be great. If not, tune in and watch the video. But thanks for joining me, and any questions or comments, then drop them in the comments box below. Any questions, I'll try and answer them the best I can, and hopefully I'll see you next time. So cheers for now.